Okay, for my short attention span fans, I'm going to put this at the very beginning of the video because the rest of the video is kind of boring, to be honest. I went out and I bought myself a Bambu Labs X1 carbon with the Bambu Labs AMS system. It's printing right now. I've printed 3 things, or I'm in the process of printing my 3rd thing right now. Printed my benchy. It was a 25-minute benchy, and not for nothing, it took longer for this machine to calibrate itself than it did to actually print the benchy. And the other thing is, this machine is sitting on a 200-pound plus table that is not bolted to the floor, but I don't even think bolting it to the floor would help. This thing was cranking itself so fast that it was shaking the table, which is really kind of cool. Now, granted, this is the fastest thing that it'll, well, actually, this is the fastest thing that it'll print. And this was the one that was really, really, really getting the table to go nuts as it was doing the blade edge here. So right now I'm doing, it's a radius gauge. It's in millimeters, but it doesn't matter. I just wanted to print something else out before I leave for the day, and then I'm going to print something else out too. But there you go. Uncle Fezzy bought himself a 3D printer. Now I have to figure out what else I need to print. I mean, I got 1,000 things I need to print, but in this particular instance, this is where we're at. So watch the rest of the video if you feel like wasting, an hour of your time. It's basically unboxing and putting it together and a couple other little ditties. I'm going to mention it later in the video, but I figured I'd mention it right now. There's 2 things right off the bat that irritate the living piss out of me with this machine. The number 1 thing is it didn't come with a glue stick. Bambu Labs sells glue sticks, and quite frankly, there's no reason that it shouldn't have like a sample size glue stick or a full size glue stick in it. Glue sticks are cheap, and it would, I had to run out to Joanne to get a glue stick. And the other thing it didn't come with was an SD card. Now, not for nothing, but an SD card is a pretty cheap item. There is absolutely, positively no reason in the world that this machine should not have come with an SD card, a micro SD card. Just 0 reason for it not to come with it. And I'm sorry, they can get those for pennies on the dollar. I mean, there's no reason whatsoever for this not to have come with an SD card and the glue stick. And now, granted, it's not the end of the world. I'm not totally pissed off about it, but I am a little irritated by it. So, there we go. The print's complete. Like I said, these are all preloaded prints. The inside of the build chamber is pretty hot. We're going to take the plate out here. So this is what it uses. This is how it purges the color. We're going to use our scraper here. The plate's actually still hot. I should probably let it calm down, cool down. So that's the, this is printed in a combination of PLA Plus, Inland PLA Plus, and the Bambu Labs test that came with it. I don't have, obviously, I literally bought this thing this morning, so I don't have any of that stuff. I have nothing, and I can see this turning into a ludicrous obsession, at least until I get bored with it, which I get bored with everything eventually. Look at that, popped right off the build plate. Well, there we go. Yeah. I don't want to say a useless tool. This didn't print out as nicely as some of the other stuff did, but in the machine's defense, or the print's defense, it did stop halfway through, so it cooled off at some point. So you can see some of the layer lines in there. But no, I'm super duper 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 happy with this thing. I'm going to set it up to do another print, probably a multiple hour print, and then I'm going to go to the bar, and when I come home, we'll see what it looks like. Well, I finally did it. Uncle Fezzy has totally lost his mind. He got ball money in his pocket, and well, here we go. What did I buy? Well, you can read it on the outside of the box, but it must come from Italy because it says Fragile on it, right? I bought the Bambu Lab X1 series combo from my friends at Micro Center. Now, I could have ordered this thing online, but quite frankly, I'm Veruca Salt and I wanted it. I want it now. The other thing is, not for nothing, I just didn't feel like putting another $1,500 on my credit card, which is exactly what this whole setup of shit cost me here. So the printer I know retail places get a lot of crap, so I don't get paid by Micro Center. I don't get paid by anybody. I got 600 subscribers. And I talk too much. But I will have to say that every time I've ever gone into Micro Center, they've had exactly what I wanted or something pretty damn close, which worked for what I needed it to do. So Micro Center gets a pretty much thumbs up for me. Now they got a bunch of autistic kids working there that like to look at the ground and I can't quite hear them when they talk. So I got to give them this. The kid that I dealt with today, whose name was John, oh, that's another thing. When you go to Micro Center, if you talk to somebody, make sure you get a sticker from them because that's how those guys get paid. I doubt very highly he got a whole lot of a spiff out of this, but hey, you never know. I did buy the printer. I bought a desiccant dryer, or I bought a powered dryer for the filament because apparently moisture is the #1 thing that causes frustration with people. And their filament, I bought 3 rolls of filament. I bought 2 rolls of PLA Plus. I bought black. I bought silver. And I bought a thing of PET G Plus in clear. This is the beginning of it, so, it is what it is. The other thing I have to do, which I haven't quite done yet, which I'm going to do, but I want to see how this is going to work out, is A, figure out exactly where I'm going to put this thing, and B, I'm going to build or buy, most likely build, and when I say build, I mean just move some stuff around. I'm going to find a place to store this filament that is up and out of the weather, not necessarily temperature controlled, but definitely humidity controlled. The other thing too is I actually do, shockingly, right? I actually do have I have a food dehydrator, but I also have a vacuum sealer, right? So air is moisture, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what's in the box? Let's find out. You only get one shot in an unboxing video, so let's go right down that road. We don't need that there. Okay, so we're going to move the filament out of the way here for just a minute. Oh yeah, I bought their Inland, which is the house brand there, because they had it. One of the things that I was really concerned about in particular with Micro Center was they didn't have this combo listed on their website as of yesterday. But yesterday was Monday, they possibly got a shipment over the weekend, and whatever, they had it. I was afraid they weren't going to have it, but they did. So I'm going to unbox this thing. Now the kid did tell me not to screw the box up, so I'm going to be kind of careful taking the box apart, and then we'll put the box up in the attic with the rest of the boxes. I may actually put this box on the floor, but we'll see. Do not cut. There we go. All right. Please keep this box. Yeah, so this box is going to go up in the attic. All right, so we got this stuff, which is, it is what it is. I do think I'm going to put this box on the floor real quick. So we're going to reset the camera real quick. And you can see my newly painted floor. There's nice handles on the box, which is pretty cool. Hooks. Part of this project is making something to put these damn hooks in. Thought I saw 3, but... Oh. Okay. All right, let's put it on the floor here. Ow. I should add that one of the other reasons I love Micro Center is the absolute and utter efficiency of those guys. You got to give those autistic kids credit. They generally know where everything is, and they have their shit together. All right, you know, autistic nerds. All right, we're gonna save all of this stuff as best as I can. Yeah, we're gonna pile it over here in this shit pile. So I don't. Let's show the camera. Yeah. So this shit pile over here is actually what this 3D printer is being purchased for. Awesomely, it says grab it here and here. All right. So what else is in the box? More of this stuff, which we're going to put back in the box along with the rest of the cardboard. And take the rest of the junk out of the box here, which is Maker World clock components kit, which is pretty cool. Some tiny rolls of, oh, it does come with a carbon fiber. Some tiny rolls or half rolls or quarter rolls of filament. Support for PLA PETG with spool. They didn't have support material at, Micro Center. The kid said that they generally don't carry it. Take that for what it's worth. Okay, this is going to get taken up and tossed in the attic. Right, now, so this is the front of the machine. I'm looking at the back of the machine. So, I think for right now, depending on how things go, we're going to assemble it here, and I really got a hard on to put it over there. I actually specifically cleaned that bench off over there for a couple reasons, and I want to put it over there. It has, there's access to a window that I can vent this thing out of if need be, and I can, depending on where I put it over there, I could actually build like a cover to put around the whole thing. So let's, so if you've ever bought anything from China, generally you know that the Chinese are not big packing people, right? This is kind of a bit of an exception here. This thing's actually shockingly heavy. I wasn't expecting it to be quite as heavy as it is. It weighs maybe, I don't know, 30 pounds. Maybe a little bit more than that, but not a whole lot more. It is a little bit smaller than I had expected. It's not smaller than I expected because I had actually looked at one of these. Now the big question everybody's going to ask is, why did I spend $1,500 on something that most likely I'm going to get bored with in a couple months? Well, it's the same reason I spent $1,500 on my sewing machine. Actually, more than that. And basically it is, this printer is allegedly idiot resistant. That's why I bought it. I've been looking at 3D printers and CNC machines and all these magical computer controlled design and building things for my whole life. The outside of the box scratches pretty easily. That's a little bit disheartening. We are going to throw the tape away. We're not saving the tape. I got this. But I am going to try to save this plastic. Yeah, it's actually really interesting. The damn thing scratches really easy. It's got a nice finish to it. I'm not the guy that's going to return something because it's got a scratch on the outside of it. So I've been looking at 3D printers since the late 90s, actually, when I first heard about them. That was interesting. This enclosure actually is glass. It's tempered glass. I'm gonna move some of this stuff out of the way to give myself a little bit more room to work here. Oh, we don't need these just yet. These are super duper vacuum packed. So it comes with green, comes with black, but this is actually carbon fiber, PLA carbon fiber. And this is the support material, PLA PTG with spool. All right. I'm in no, I would actually, so this is how deep I want to go into being a Bambu Lab fanboy, in that I'll buy their material. Just right this minute, I want to get started. I want to get started for a lot of reasons. Veruca is the #1 reason, but I have another reason that I'll talk about later. Yeah, I have another reason that I want to get this going. So we've got the AMS unit comes packed inside of here. I knew that. I knew most of this stuff. I've been watching countless YouTube videos, and when you get somebody like me that is not a tech guy, I'm a tech guy in that the only tech I do is my phone, my computer. I tried to be back in the 80s, and it was beyond my scope it was outside of my skill set, even though being a special ed student, shocking, right? I actually had real early access to computers. Yeah, we're not saving that. We're gonna put this over yonder, because this looks like it wants to break. When I was a kid, oh, this is the quick start guide, by the way. I should probably flip through it real quick. I'm just kind of rolling along here. Warning, AMS supports spools with blah, 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 TPU, damp PVA, cardboard spool. Now the guys at Micro Center obviously wanted to sell me their stuff. And basically they said, and I believe them, that all they run there is they run their own filament. They don't run, they're not respooling it, they're actually running their filament. That's nice, that just peeled right off. Apparently this door is notorious for breaking. Actually, I saw a post on Reddit the other day. I am not a Redditor, but I'm forced to go to Reddit. And there is a picture of one of these with the door smashed. That's the only thing that's actually keeping me from putting this printer over on that bench, is there's a vise mounted there's a vise mounted on that bench over there that may or may not end up coming off. I don't really want to take that vise off that bench, but that's not out of the question. I have I have 3 vices in this shop right now. I can do with 2. Plus I have a vise outside on a wheel or on a tire. Okay, so let's very carefully, we're going to shut that doors, we don't need to be in there. So I bought this thing for a lot of reasons, and the biggest reason is the idiot resistancy of it, alleged idiot resistancy of it. Are these things perfect? No. But from what I've heard, read, seen, visualized, talked to multiple other people that have 3D printers, The number one thing is that these are as close as you can get to some form or another of plug and play that's available nowadays for printers. This thing is locked in somewhere. I guess I could possibly read the directions. There's two little screws on there that very possibly could be holding that in. Now, we're going to take a split second here and we're going to read the directions. Okay, so yeah, I got to take these two screws out, which I was kind of expecting. This isn't the first unboxing video. Obviously, this isn't the greatest unboxing video, but there's screws that you have to remove that I knew that I was going to have to remove. So we have our accessory box here, and we're going to use everything that came with it because that's my new thing. The old days, well, old days as in being this morning, I would have gone over to my own toolbox and taken stuff out. But today, we're going to do it this way. Oh, look at all those little ribbon cable. Oh, no, what is that? Oh, that's grease. Okay. That's grease for the lead screws. That's yet to be determined. Spool holder for the back. Apparently, that's something that you're supposed to 3D print. That's power cord. This is a 0.4 nozzle. Okay. I don't know if that's a spare or that's the one that, or I have to install that. This is a data cable of some kind. More looks like instructions. Cute little LED touchscreen LED, which is another reason I bought this, or LCD screen. A little tiny wire to clean this clean the spool out with. Probably wouldn't kill me to buy some more of those for cleaning my glass blowing torch. Oh, so the other question is am I giving up on glass blowing? No, I'm not giving up on glass blowing, but I absolutely am going to push it aside a little bit because I've got some problems with my oxygen system. I've got, I don't think, I'm a mechanic, so I'm fairly sure that I've got a rod knock in my oxygen compressor that I have to address. It's not a matter of if I have to address it, it is that I do have to address it. So, okay, we got those two screws out. Now, theoretically, this thing should just lift out. When I pulled on it and it didn't want to move, I knew there was a screw holding it in. There we go. Okay, so this is the AMS unit, which is enclosed in there. We're going to set this aside. Now, if you're watching this video, you're probably a friend of mine or somebody that actually knows me. I'm having a brain fart. All right, so we're going to take a break from that for a second. That looks like that wants to come out. Okay. I don't want to throw any of this packaging material away. If it's cardboard, I'll toss it, but if it's foam, pre-cut foam, I'd like to hang on to it. And I say cardboard, cardboard's cardboard. Oops. I'm sure that was not healthy. But this machine is supposed to calibrate itself and do pretty much all of the hard work that made me not want to get into 3D printing in the first place. Like I said, I've been looking at 3D printers literally for almost 20 years. The first time I ever saw it was like Beyond 2000 back in the 90s. They were just touching on 3D printing as a way to do things. Remove the 4 screws in there and indicate, take out the AMS cushioning. Okay. Remove the cardboard from the tool head, remove the foam from the access chute, aka poop chute. Alright, so we've already taken the poop chute blocker out. There's a little piece of tape on here, which probably wants to come off. And not just that, I mean, just CNC machines and everything else. So if I didn't get this for $1,000, I was going to get a lathe or a milling machine or a combo lathe mill. You know, not for nothing, the more and more and more and more, I have access to a machine shop now if I really need it. More likely I will need a 3D printer. Nobody needs a 3D printer, but more likely, as a, and I hate to use this term, as a maker, chances are I'm going to be, I'll utilize a 3D printer more often than I will be utilizing a lathe or a mill. I'm sure, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm relatively sure that I absolutely would use it. But not nearly as much as I think I'm going to get some use out of this thing. If for nothing more than to just print vacuum hose connections. The whole reason I am buying this printer, the whole reason I built this printer, was so I could make vacuum connections for my tools. I know that sounds completely absurd, you know. Haven't you ever heard of duct tape? Yes, I have. I've heard of duct tape. I've used duct tape. I use duct tape on all my fucking tools. And I'm sick of it. I'm absolutely, positively sick of using duct tape on my vacuum tools. Yeah, I don't know how else to put it. Now, I understand that a 3D printer is not the fastest thing in the world, especially not these. You know, this isn't a replicator. It's not going to magically produce. It's not going to magically produce vacuum attachments. I know that. I'm not. There's this rumor that I'm a raging idiot. I'm not going to say it's not unfounded. What's really funny is, for a company that sells 3D printers, this is injection molded. There's a little bit of irony there. Other than when you're making a million of something, it's a lot easier to wow, that's got a hell of a magnet on it. Interesting. I didn't know that. So apparently they want you to keep the door open, which is an interesting interesting note. All right. Take some more foam out here. Or not. Alright, so they're telling me to hook up the AMS unit before they're telling me to hook the AMS unit up, but quite frankly I don't want to hook the AMS unit up just yet. So I'm going to just H2 this one. There's a screw on the back I got to take out. And put the screw holder on it. Oh, look at that. Alright, so we're not going to do that either. I'm not So unlock the hotbed. Yeah, this is real time, by the way. So this video is intended for my fans, not necessarily for anybody else. That wasn't a good idea. All that for a better camera angle, right? Had a moment of clarity there. What good's a video if you can't see what I'm doing? So there's screws that are already marked in here. They have bright red arrows on them, or orange arrows. Can't miss them. I don't like working on this side of the bench. We're going to move the camera around. Again, this is not a how-to video, not even remotely. It's not even a very good unboxing video. This is more of a, let's run the video camera and see if I can break something before I get the whole damn thing apart. So far, I've already heard something crack, which is never a good sign. This thing is, like I said, it's shockingly heavy. I mean, it's... I'm sorry, I don't want the camera too close in. I could actually go in from the top. I don't totally feel like doing that either. That's why my videos suck. Okay. I'm going to hang on to these screws because it wouldn't shock me if if they came in handy for something later. Like backing the machine back up and sending it back if I needed to. Okay. Doesn't want to move. Oh, that came out. All right, so we took all those out. We took that out. So we're not going to do I'm not going to install the AMS just this second. And I'm not going to install the spool holder just this second because I don't plan on using that spool. Somebody from Amazon. I assume that's Amazon. I'm not going to shut my camera off for that. I don't remember ordering anything, but it doesn't mean somebody around here didn't. All right, so we're going to close this door. I really don't want to break that door. Okay, now we got to put the screen on. All right. So we have the screen here. It comes wrapped in this nice little bag. It's cool. It's like an iPhone. These little ribbon cables are the bane of my existence. All right, well, squeeze it, stick it, jam it in. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's pictograms. I'm not going to say this is idiot resistant or idiot proof. Oh, connect. Press the terminal down, insert the cable. Screen installation tutorial. Oh, it's got a little, whatever you call that thing on there. Well, that did not positively click into position. I'm just kind of looking at the connector just to make sure I'm not doing it wrong. Actually, I think I might be. I think it might actually go this way. Little buttons on the side of it, so you absolutely have to push those in. Well, that's a little fiddly. Ah, there we Sorry, kids. Uncle Fezzy had to block your view there for a second. That was the problem. Alright, and we're going to assume that that's correct positioning. Okay, here we are, back again. So, a couple things which are kind of funny. One is, little rat Chinese bastards didn't include a fucking glue stick. And they sell their own proprietary glue sticks. At least I didn't see it in this package. It could be in here, but I don't see it. You would think that that would be something that they would include. That's the first strike on that. Or that is a strike on that. Let me put it that way. The other thing, that's the number one thing. But the other kind of like, I don't know, side complaint here. Let's turn this thing on. Got a switch here on the back. We have turned it on. Now I didn't remove the rest of the packing because only because maybe I will put the AMS on for temporary purposes. I think I could take it off. I know I could take it off later. So maybe we're going to hook the AMS up. Which means we got to put the lid back on it. I don't know, I just have this funny feeling that this all wants to be hooked up at once. So the AMS just sits on top of this thing. But it does have a data cable, which I kind of want to... Yeah, I think I'm going to hook that thing up. The other thing I want to... Yeah, get to it right now. So the irony here, or one of the funny things here, is I use my phone as my monitor on my there's something so satisfying about taking that shit off, but quite frankly, I like to leave it on most of the time. We're actually going to leave it on this. So this is the tubing. You may have to take a step back here. Remove the plastic bag of desiccant before use. Okay. But we need the plastic bag of desiccant in the machine. I'm not quite understanding that, but the plastic bag. The desiccant is in the plastic bag. Okay, well that makes sense. Alright, so we are English, which is funny because that's the second language. One of the things that I found really hilarious, one of the things that I found incredibly interesting, it wasn't interesting, it was an enlightening experience for me as a borderline alcoholic mechanic from Philadelphia. When I went to Europe for the first time at 40, older than 40, was when I went to the first Mac machine, ATM machine for people that are not from the Philadelphia region. It was like press 7 for English, and it wasn't even English. It was a Union Jack, which I thought was even funnier. Shows you, just reminds you that you're really not that important in the world scheme of things, even though us Americans are fairly convinced that our shit don't stink. Tube. 550mm PTE2, Bambu plus cable 6-pin, Bambu plus cable 4-pin. Okay. Now we've got two of these here. We've got a 4-pin, and a 4-pin, and a 6-pin, and a 6-pin. I'm really hoping this is not going to live here. This is a temporary. Get a benchy running. Hopefully, I can get one out in an hour or two. I don't know how long it takes to print a benchy, but it shouldn't take much more than an hour. My goal here, yeah, this may be a problem. Maybe not. I plan on putting the, no, I'm gonna plug this in. So there's some tubing on the back of here that has to be stuck in. They use push connect fittings, just like pretty much every other tubing. Just like every other tubing. Let's got a spring in it. That's pretty slick. One of the things that is highly recommended to print is a Y connection, which I will do, so you don't have to disconnect this from the back of the machine. I give these guys millions and millions and millions of bits of credit. I didn't even look at some of the stuff that I'm doing. Because why would I look at the things why would I look at what I'm working on? Select region, North America. Okay, next. Okay, not to, okay, that'll work. Device success. Yeah, what the hell. I give up. You know what? Not for nothing. If the fucking Chinese want to steal my data, or whatever, I don't fucking care. So we're gonna do next here. Now I am a little bit concerned about this stuff. Calibrate. Ah, there we go. That's what I wanted to get out of there. It looks like I got everything. It is a little dark in here. Apparently that's to make the LiDAR work better. So we're just going to let this run for a couple minutes and see what happens. It's taking its good old time, which is fine. Gives me a couple minutes to read the directions here. I don't know what all those little tubes are for. And we're gonna put a spool of just good old-fashioned green PLA in there. I'm not gonna lie, I don't exactly know what it's doing. I think I know what it's doing, but we'll see. I didn't put a build plate in there, which it didn't say to do, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't have. So, oopsie. Said to leave that in there. So we're going to leave that in there until after the initial calibration is complete. It probably wouldn't have been a bad idea to leave the build plate in there too. Motor noise calibration takes about 15 minutes. I'm going to shut the camera off. Because I know this shot is really wide, but quite frankly, that frickin' GoPro, the angle, the lens is so wide that I have to get the camera too close. So one of the things I did already was, so I ran that calibration program, and I cleaned the plate here. They said to wash it with hot soapy water. Well, why would I do that when I can just use Windex and isopropyl alcohol? One of the side effects of me being me is I very rarely ever follow the directions. But quite frankly, yeah, I'm glad I bought the 6-pack here. So they say to put the glue stick on. I'm going to buy the they have a new tack plate that supposedly doesn't require a glue stick. Apparently the glue stick is specifically for, actually it's a release agent, which makes sense to me. You know, I'm not a total dolt. So, surface. We're gonna stick this fucker in here and see what happens. Wow. And definitely. And one of the recommendations that I read was there's like a thing that you can put on the back side of there. Somebody else already made it up, so that's one of the things I'm going to print to help you align it. The other thing I didn't do is put anything in it. So we're going to start printing. So this is my printer. Oh, absolutely. We need to update it already. Shocking, right? So it automatically detected the network. So it automatically detected my network. It instantaneously, just like everything else, it needs to be updated because why not? You know, it's like a BMW that needs to be updated 6 times a day, so it'll start in a cold. So this is kind of a little bit of a joke. My goal for today was to have a benchy printed by 2 o'clock. I think I'm going to miss my goal, but that's only because I had to go to Joann and buy glue sticks because my glue stick was all dried up. It's not something I use all the time. So I bought a 6-pack of glue sticks. I'm going to put this in. All I see here is like a MIG wire. As soon as I take this thing off of here, it's going to want to unspool. The other thing I want to do is grab a new pair of nippers. I have my trusty flush cut nippers, which everybody's seen, which I use the crap out of. But I want to get a new pair just because. Whoa! Whoa! They grabbed that thing right out of my hand. And that's cool as shit. We're gonna close this up. For whatever reason, I'm incredibly paranoid about moisture. That's why I bought the desiccant dryer box, or not the desiccant dryer box, the hot dryer box. I do have a old deep food dehydrator, so we'll see how it goes. I said I'd like to. Okay, we got to start the calibration over again. All right, so I'm gonna. You know, I'm fairly sure sticking my head inside this machine as it melts plastic probably isn't the greatest idea in the world, but you know. I'm absolutely and utterly fascinated by this. You know, also being the talkative fellow that I am, the poor kid. Oh, I'm glad I put that build plate in there. So it's banging off of the build plate. I told the kid I'm a Luddite, and he looked at me like I had two heads. He's like, "You don't know what a Luddite is." And I gave him a quick explanation of what a Luddite was. It was pretty funny, for me at least. I'm going to close the door here. I'm going to shut this thing off. I'm going to shut this camera off. I really don't think there's much to see here. I mean, I don't know. What the hell do I know? Ooh, it's doing something. Almost shut it off. It looks like it's going to do the same thing it did before. Homing tool head. Hasn't squirted anything out yet. I was kind of expecting it to squirt something out. Kind of a little disappointed by that. Nothing came out the poop chute. I love that they call it a poop chute, because I'm a child. So, I actually forgot to start the camera. And the one thing that it did do is it told me that the filament in the machine did not match the filament in the thing, the AMS. But the AMS, it's supposed to have an RFID thing in it. So I just hit print and we'll see what the hell happens. Yeah, it looks like it's heating up. I was kind of hoping that this thing had a... I don't know what I was hoping. I'm actually going to shut the camera off again, and I'm going to sit here and stare at this like a 5-year-old looking into a microwave. Okay, so we're printing our first benchy just to make sure it works. There's a couple of things that I found that was really interesting already. So I got 2 strikes on Bambu Labs on this one. One is it doesn't come with a micro SD card, which is really asinine. For $1,500, which was the original cost on this machine, it should have come with like a, I don't know, 20 gig micro SD card, whatever. They're cheaper shit. They're cheap as shit. I'm gonna go buy one. I don't care, but that's a little irritating to me as a consumer, you know, and to go along with the glue stick. So that's, hey, Bambu Labs, include the micro SD card and, you know, your own brand glue stick. It wouldn't kill you. You know, it's that's like that stuff costs pennies, especially when you buy them literally, you know, a million at a time. So we're gonna run the benchy here. It's actually already 38%. The vast majority of running the benchy here was the calibration. So it's a 25-minute print, supposedly. So we'll see how it goes. After I'm done printing the benchy, I'm gonna print, I'm gonna set it to print probably 2 scrapers. We'll see if I can get it to print 2 at once. And then I'm gonna head out. But my goal of having a benchy by 2 o'clock this afternoon absolutely looks like it's gonna happen, which is really, really, really cool. So, I actually forgot to turn the camera on. Why wouldn't I? So here we are. My first official benchy. Popped right off. CT3D.XYZ. It actually printed, kind of printed the serial number on the back side. I can't quite see that. It might actually print the serial number better if I slowed it down, but I ran the fastest benchy I could just because I wanted to see what it would do, because why not, right? That is the coolest fucking thing ever. I like it. Little tiny bit of stringing, but nothing that I can't live with. Well, there you go, kids. Uncle Fezzy's new toy. It's got a nice little bit of weight to it. Yeah, it's interesting. Just as from a Luddite's point of view, there's a line in this thing, right? And everybody always bitches about this line, but I've been thinking about it. There's a layer line in here. I almost think this is supposed to be here. In nautical terms, this is called a bootstrap, but it is a little bit weird. Yeah, it didn't quite print the benchy. It didn't quite print the serial number on the back. I bet you oh yeah, it did. It's really hard to see. All right, well, I'm going to scrape the build plate. There's a little bit of fudge around the stack. But I'm going to print. I'm going to clean the build plate, and we're going to start a scraper. And then I got shit to do this afternoon, and I'll come home later and futz with it. So there you go, kids. Uncle Fezzy's new toy. So I printed my benchy. I printed the scraper, and then I decided I was going to print this radius gauge. Interestingly enough, and I actually foresaw this happening, and I'm kind of glad it happened here with me sitting here. But I saw it doing it, and I didn't do anything about it for 2 reasons. One, I wanted to see if it would clear itself. Why would it? What it did to correct itself was really, 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 really cool. So the filament, the filament was jammed. Basically, it was tangled on the spool. In the industry, we used to call it an asshole. So, well, yeah. Yeah, man, we always just called it an asshole. But basically what happens is when you get the outfeed is caught underneath of one of the other wraps on the line. Very common with MIG welders. And I didn't fix it because my experience with MIG welders is if you try to take an asshole out of a MIG welder before it jams, you'll end up with 15 to 20 feet of MIG wire on the ground. When you let your hands off of it, the MIG wire wants to just fly off the spool. So the machine, I was sitting here and it was going back and forth, going back and forth, going back and forth. I thought it was changing colors because this is a 2-color print. And no, it wasn't changing colors. It detected the jam in the AMS, which is really fascinating. I'm super duper impressed with that. So now I'm kind of waiting on the color change. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work. One of the things I want to use this printer for is printing my own little signs for things. So yeah, I just wow, that was pretty cool. You know, obviously I'm gonna add that into the video.